TV's Leila Mohammed is still our woman on the ground. Leila, what can you tell us tonight to describe the atmosphere in the tallying centre as we inch closer to those final results?
Well, Smriti, a lot more numbers this Sunday, about 50 or 60, 70 constituencies being announced from 4 a.m. The last batch of 32 being announced in the last half an hour. Nothing has changed positions on those tables. However, we see significantly low numbers, which means we are crossing our fingers that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Before we go into any other details, let me just bring you up to speed with the latest constituencies that the IEBC says their numbers have been verified, collated, and signatures made possible for them to be announced. Rongai constituency, the first one, Gishugu in Kirinyaga County, Igembe South, Lafe, Mandera East, Embakasi South, Galole, Voi, Roysambu constituency, Sabatia in Vihiga County, Rarieda, Garissa Township, Isiolo South, Thika Town constituency, Mwatate, Kibra, Molo, Kuresoi North, Embakasi Central, Suna East, Suna West, Nyali in Mombasa, Marakwet West, Saboti, Buuri in Meru, Kieni in Nyeri County, Chesumei constituency, Embakasi North, Diaspora, the 291th ideally constituency that had 10,453 registered voters, 5,988 of them being valid votes, and rejected ballots were 44. Raila Odinga garnering 3,727 votes, 2,190. Waihiga Mwaure 31, William Ruto 2,190, and George Wajakoya 40. It was important for me to read out this constituency because it is one of the significant players in this presidential election, the other 290 constituency being physically cut out within the precincts of Kenya. When we continue with this list, we have Wajir South, Kiamba in Kiambu County, and Uriri in Luo Nyanza. Those are the data that we have as at 8 p.m. this evening. We are hoping that Wafula Chebukati and his team have gone even further to clear as many more constituencies. As at now, in my tally, in my little black book, we have at least 213 constituencies that have been cleared, meaning just under 77, if I'm not wrong, needing to be cleared as well. And all the activity on these tables has not slowed down a bit. The agents just changing shifts depending on how one is exhausted, because it's an entire day, an entire night process, quite an elaborate one. This particular Sunday, the blessings of this holy day just shining down on this amphitheater. Nothing much to report within the precincts of this Uchaguzi Center. Much more calmer than what we saw yesterday evening. Much more cordial relations. The IEBC chair taking a sneak peek into what was happening around 4 p.m. when he was escorting the chairperson of the observer team from the COMESA and the African Union, and that is the former president of Sierra Leone, Ernest Komora, and his team were here. We also saw a lot of activity outside the precincts of Bomas of Kenya around midday to 2 p.m. When a couple of members of parliament and their supporters came to try and access the precincts of Bomas of Kenya, and with the heavy duty security deployed here, majority of them were not allowed into this vicinity. IEBC again making those critical decisions to just have the critical numbers as low as possible of in the elaborate process, but equally important and significant coming out of that decision in 2017. Remember, after that poll was declared null and void, taking the Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto team back into a campaign season after 60 days, and then we had that runoff. So Smriti, on the other side, it's beautiful to see that the chairs are all green and empty, meaning that the returning officers are almost cleared. IBC is yet to tell us if all the 290 constituency returning officers have come here and their documentation has been validated by Wafula Chebukati and team. Remember yesterday him trying just to rearrange how their coordination within these precincts will happen, and insisting that they will come in and be ushered into where Wafula Chebukati sits, and he will be getting those documents and receiving them and signing forms that he has received them, and then now the process of going to the IT desks and verification continues, because he was insisting that they had taken so long on the aisle, some of them sleeping here out in the cold. And it's a cold slab in some places in this amphitheater, Smriti. And you can imagine with the low temperatures here in Karen Langata constituency, many had expressed concern over even their health in terms of continuing to sit here with an unknown period of time before they would be able to be ushered in, because the process, like has been described before, was taking much longer than the 15 minutes that Wafula Chebukati had anticipated for this process to be done and dusted. But for the teams that are on each table, each party particularly expects that they will be going through the forms 34A, forms 34B, and just to ensure that all the data in all those documents is tallying or is corresponding with that had been taken the picture of in the Kim's kits from the polling station area. So much more activity here this evening. We are hoping that in the next few minutes, if not hours, IBC teams will be coming out again, and we are crossing our fingers that they will be having such a bulky list of constituencies to go through and finish, as they hope that in this Monday, maybe we shall be having the winner of this presidential election announced. And many within Kenya are hoping so, that because that after 6 days of waiting, then there will be that proverbial white smoke, and they will be able to know how this pendulum has swung and where it has settled, as many hope for each of those parties. Many are hoping that their preferred candidate wins this. The projections have been already tallied according to what the IBC has verified and put on the table. Dan Mwangi and his team, I know, are crunching those numbers as per the 32 that have already come in and the 30 that had come in earlier, and about 20 that came in at around 4:35 in the morning. All these numbers being critically important to find out if the 50+1 requirement in law of attaining those votes in the valid votes cast will be significant to know who has become the 5th president-elect, as they are waiting to be inaugurated as president number 5 in the Republic of Kenya. Smriti.
Yeah, Leila, hopes are certainly high that the counting soon comes to a close. But of course, we appreciate all the effort that goes into it from the officials who are doing all the hard work, the security as well, and journalists like yourself. Keep standing strong and keep warm, Leila. Thanks so much for that update, coming to us live from the Bomas of Kenya Tallying Center, which of course, at this point in particular, is a very tightly secured venue.